Greetings and welcome to another episode of Soul Citizen. This is episode 79, and we're going to talk about emergency medical gameplay. I hope you're all excited. I am. Today we have some guests with us. Starting to my left, Gomab, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hello, everybody. I am GomabATL. Happy to be here. It's a fantastic topic that we have today, and I'm excited to get into it.
Cool. Next to him, we have Jade.
Hello.
That's all? That's it?
Yeah,
That's it?
pretty much. Keeping it short and sweet. Hello. Happy to be here as always.
All right. RayneCloud. No, this is your first time here?
Yeah, it is.
Tell the audience a bit about yourself.
Hey everybody, my name's Kara, otherwise known as LadyRayneCloud or Kara RayneCloud on Twitter and Twitch and stuff. I am, I guess you want to know a little bit about my real life. I'm a disabled military veteran. I work in the games industry professionally as a community and media relations manager. And yeah, I stream too on Twitch and proudly LGBT+, just saying. So like, yeah, hi, how's everybody?
We're good.
Cool.
Happy to have you here.
Yeah,
Happy
we
to be
are.
here.
Welcome.
Thank you.
So we have a lot to get through, so let's jump to it. We're going to start with ship comparisons for medical gameplay. On the screen, you see the Endeavor, Apollo, two Apollo, and the Cutlass Red. Just curious, we can go by each one. Starting with the Cutlass Red, we have a video. So let's hop to that.
So we're going to talk about the Cutlass Red today. We've got Michael the designer, Josh the artist. Straight off the bat, what does the Cutlass Red mean to you?
Kind of great introduction into medical gameplay and just this very fun, exciting ship where players can kind of fly around.
Thanks for the subscription.
Rescue other players.
It's my child and Star Citizen. The Black was the first ship I did from the beginning. So getting to finish the Red, I've been waiting a long time for this, and the Red is bringing a whole new element to Star Citizen.
It's the first rung on the ladder of the medical gameplay career, so it adds a whole new set of gameplay options that no other ship in the game currently does.
So we wanted for the Cutlass Red, instead of the open slide, like assault doors is what I like to call them on the Cutlass Black. For this one, we needed more of like a protected environment. As the main cabin area is now a medical treatment facility, we have to secure the patients and the workers inside, the people who are being treated in danger.
Yeah, I think the other thing that people always ask a lot is, when can I get my flashy lights on a ship?
That was something I was very adamant about at the very start of this process, is that it had to have the kind of EMS light feel.
The Cutlass Red brings two new features into the Star Citizen universe. So let's talk about the first one, healing.
Healing yourself. If you're injured, you can just go inside the Cutlass, lay down on this bed. There will be a little prompt for you to heal. We have this really cool little scanner that goes through with a nice little toned lighting effect, kind of show that you're being healed.
And then the second is respawning, which you sort of access in a very similar way. You lie down on the bed, you set the medical beds to be your respawn point. And then at that point, if you die and the ship is still in a relative vicinity, you can respawn back to the ship, which is a big feature. Okay, so we're just about out of time. Final thoughts on the Cutlass Red?
The thing I'm looking forward to is heal players, kind of get them going a little bit better than we can right now.
I can't wait for players flying around with their lights.
Hey, thanks for the
Shining the
subscription.
searchlights in people's faces.
Hey, thanks, Blackwater
For
Goat.
me, it's just the extension
Thank you,
of group
Blackwater
play.
Goat.
Because when you
Yeah.
play as a group at the moment, as soon as one of you makes a mistake and dies, they're essentially out of the group for a long period of time whilst they get back, and this fills that gap in, and it just allows those groups to play on for longer.
Right, and that was the video. So first off, I want to ask, how many people have a Cutlass Red?
I have one as a loner.
Same. I have one as a loaner for the Endeavor, I believe.
I'm
The Endeavor, yeah.
I have
And-
one until the wipe because I bought it in game. So
And I would like, I would like to offer the Cuddy Red a brief moment of silence. He used to be a very well received ship in the verse, especially when doing cave missions and things. You could set your respawn, or if you're doing PvP, it was always you always had a Cuddy Red. It was a little less cumbersome to bring down than an 890 or a Carrack, and now he's not going to see as much action. So
So why you're saying that?
So why am I saying that?
Yeah, why? What happened to the Cuddy Red?
Oh, because of the new medical gameplay that came out that broke out the medical gameplay into 3 tiers, and Cuddy Red is sitting alone on the bottom rung, as he said, as a tier 3 medical ship. It will now be an ambulance, so to speak, and no longer be able to be set as a spawn point.
There
as
you
it
go.
was in the past.
I'm completely okay with that.
Oh, I'm
Oh,
okay
you know
with
why?
that.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay,
Yeah,
so you don't feel like it's getting nerfed or anything, or you feel
No,
like
I mean, in PT Wave 1, the people that I hang out with, we've been using it constantly. Like, it just, obviously you can't spawn at it, like Gomab said, but we had, like, in the current version of the game, you know that bug where you cross, like, a physics grid and your character falls down and, like, dies? That's not a thing anymore. Like, you'll fall down, but you won't die, and then people can me and a friend of mine were playing, and he had brought his Cutlass Red with him, and I'd had that happen. We were doing a bunker mission, and I walked into the bunker, hit the ground, couldn't move. He got me healed up, got me back to the Cuddy got me up and situated and ready to rock and roll again, and we went and finished the mission, and then we went to the Cuddy up to a clinic so I could get like my injury that I had finally taken care of. And it was like, well, if the Cutlass hadn't been there at all, I mean, yeah, I can't spawn at it, but if it hadn't been there at all, then what are we going to do? It felt really cool to know that it was still there and could help and get you at least back on your feet to finish the mission that you were doing instead of just backspacing to die and then get you to a clinic. So I don't know. I feel like it's actually more important that you have a Cutlass now instead of least important. That's my take on it.
Well, yes. I mean, I think it's still useful, and I think it is finally taking its rightful place in the verse.
Yeah.
And a reason why I offer the moment of silence is because in the past it was an anchor, so to speak. If you went to do a cave mission without a Cuddy Red, and you died, that was it. Now, if you go and do a mission with a Cuddy Red and you die, that's it, right? It doesn't, it no longer anchors you. Now, it does give you an opportunity to heal yourself, which is good, right? And so it serves its purpose, but it's definitely, I think taking a step back into where it needs to be.
Yeah, I think I agree. Sorry.
I just have a quick question. So, like we have the different tiers. We have the tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3. Is anyone comfortable explaining what the different tiers are?
Surprisingly, I did a big Reddit post on this. That was my first post to get gold on the Star Citizen subreddit and over 1,000 likes. That happened last week. For those that heard earlier, I'm former U.S. Navy, a former military medical professional, and CIG actually went with something that is almost identical to how the tier system for medical hospitals here in the United States work, where tier 1 is a hospital. It is the absolute, like, if you think military and you think a tier 1 operator, like spec ops or whatever, like they're the best of the best. So like a tier 1 hospital is like your full 24-hour, it's got like your surgery and your emergency rooms and everything. Whereas in the real world, here in the US at least, the tier 5 hospital, which is the lowest it goes in the real world, is like your local clinics and stuff. They have to send you to somebody else because they just don't have the resources and the doctors and the staff. They're usually not open 24 hours. They usually don't have emergency rooms, etc. And CIG kind of condensed that from 5 to 3, whereas 3 is the lowest, like the absolute lowest, like the Cuddy is the lowest. Like there are injuries it cannot take care of. and you can't like regen or respawn at it anymore. Whereas tier 1 is like can handle all the injuries and all the issues and everything in the game, and tier 2 is kind of like in the middle. So it's like, you'll want a Cuddy or an Apollo to get you probably back to a hospital if you've been significantly hurt, which is akin to in the real world where we'll take somebody into a low tier clinic because that's the closest thing, and then airlift them to a higher tier hospital, like a higher tier regional facility, if that makes any sense.
And everyone here is okay with that, with the change for the Cutty Red.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
It's
just
always intended. Go ahead.
yeah, it's always So concisely, I mean, the way CIG explains it is tier 1 is the hospitals where you recover from near death, right, or fatal injuries, like they can bring you back from the brink. Tier 2 is serious, right? You're bleeding out, but or your arm has been blown off. Or tier 3 is if you got a boo-boo or a broken leg. Those are the tiers, and I think that that's good. That's where we need to be in the game to base. You shouldn't have a just a one size fits all like it's been in the past. And we've all known that they were going to be moving this direction. So yeah, it's fine.
I don't think I couldn't remember the last time I heard a grown ass man say boo boo. But okay, it's cool.
It's a grown ass man with a 2-year-old. I say boo boo quite a bit.
Oh, okay. All right. So I mean,
I get that parent. I got a 9-year-old, and she's still saying boo boo at 9. I'm like, okay, maybe we need to,
So do you think the Red will be profitable?
You might legitimately be able to have a quote career as an emergency medical support person in 315. I really do.
Okay. Yeah. By the way, for folks in viewing in Twitch chat, if you have questions, feel free to ask questions using the token system. You can click on the eclipse below the Twitch chat and ask questions. But it's hard. It's going to be hard for us to keep track of the separate questions that be going on.
Eclipse is the thing that's behind. That's behind the number 47.4K. Or, I think. Or, sorry, no, it's the eclipse symbol that's right there, near chat.
Oh, that's the 47.4K is your number.
It's yours.
Yeah,
That's your
sorry,
number.
sorry. Yeah.
I'm like, where did you get that number from? Yeah, I have 157. So yeah, feel free to do.
He just said those are rookie numbers.
They are rookie numbers.
Yeah. So any other speculations about how the Cutty Red is going to be profitable, or is that be clear?
Sorry.
No, I disagree with what you said. There's going to be people going to be picking up on those beacons to help pick up those folks that risk taking those cave missions without
support.
Without support. Yeah.
And has anybody here been? I know that I've been rescued. Has anybody else here been rescued?
Yep.
Yeah. And did you get griefed at all? Because I didn't.
I did not. Mm-mm.
Yeah,
How
that
long
was
did
kind
it
of my
take you to get
prediction
rescued?
that we wouldn't. It took about, I think, 10 to 12 minutes. I was on Daymar, so a lot of people are at Port Olisar, so it's probably why.
Well, I think it'll also make sense once we get people that have cutties that are fit with XL1 drives or high speed quantum drives specifically so they can get to you.
Absolutely.
One of the things that I really I was talking with some other friends of mine in a different org about was what about a pair, a red and a blue pair, and doing Elite had the whole seals and the fuel rats and stuff. What about an org that just runs the blues and reds until we get bigger versions and responds to emergency is in the verse and stuff like that with a dispatch and everything. I think that'd be really freaking cool.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there is a medical org. I can't remember their name, but
I can remember the name.
yeah, but I think that they will be that pretty much.
I might have to join.
They probably welcome you with open arms.
Can I get a discount?
Sure.
All right, so let's move on to the next one. It's the RSI Apollo. We have a video for that.
The RSI Apollo is a new medical
Thanks
ship.
for the
It's
follow.
from RSI.
Thanks for the follow.
A new ship in a long while. We have 2 medical ships at the moment announced in the game, which is the Cutlass Red, which is basically the ambulance in our game, and the Endeavor with its hospital module, which is really massive and really endgame. So we needed something in between.
We had quite a short timeline on this one for a medium ship. So really early on, I did a quick sketch of the interior, passed it to concept artist and was like something like this, and it kind of stuck basically. And it works well with RSI styling. The ship still has its flow, you know, it's still quite sleek and sexy, but you know, it's got all that angularness to it. It's like a Lamborghini, turn it into a spaceship.
The RSI Apollo is basically like a small clinic that you can go to the edge of space. This has a capacity of 6 patients with 6 beds, a crew of 2 at the front with 2 ejection beds, and it has a size 2 turret on the top of the ship at the rear, which is more a point defense turret rather than something made for dogfights or anything. And this is a remote turret. It has also 28 SCU of cargo at the back.
And then you've got medical bay space. It's always that sort of fine line between sort of reality sci-fi and gameplay. So it's, okay, we need to basically spawn a player here, but we don't want him popping in. So the player will be delivered. There's a glass cover on top, sort of protecting the player. The thought process is that we'll have essentially like an opaque glass when there's nobody in it, and then you'll hear noises and probably lights will come on, and the bed will activate, and then a person will arrive. The glass turns transparent, and you're like, okay, that, you know, the bed's occupied. At least that's how we've developed it at the moment. It's kind of like a self-healing unit, so you'll have a disc that scans the person, finds out what's wrong with them, heals them, and then it opens up and off they go. And so with this ship, you'll be able to pick up people, fix people up, shove them back out the door, you know, so it can be, you know,
Thanks for the subscription.
Gameplay.
That we plan is, even if regular ships can
And
do
for the host.
something with medical gameplay, or like a player could help other people in the future, you will need medical ships if you want really to pursue the medical career in the game.
The final result, really happy with, and it's just sort of going through it basically, and so that's just been a process of refinement, just pushing and okay, add this, tweak this, you know, all the lines. Generally, you know, you generally try and avoid parallel lines.
We've worked hard to do a good layout that will please every player and that is really aesthetically pleasing as well. So I think this is a really good ship, and this is bringing new kind of gameplay, so it looks good.
Do you know what? I kind of like playing the medic often. So, you know, I'm not quite sure how this will turn out in our game, you know, but I just want to see it. Just want to see it in game, and just, you know, I just want to see what players do with it. But I think, you know, I can't wait to see, you know, it's not going to be like the red arrows, but you can just imagine, you know, just a whole fleet of these guys just taking off and just going off, just rescuing people, or you know, you can imagine just jumping in, massive space battle, debris everywhere, bodies just sort of floating about, you know, and then just in, you know, all the drones just popping out, and scooping up the people and popping them into the base of the ship. I think it could make for a really nice visual as well.
That was the RSI Apollo. I just got to say, I love the weather on this ship. But so who owned this ship among the guests and co-hosts? Anyone
I
have
do
this
not
ship?
yet.
Not yet.
Yeah. Jade?
Not yet. I'll buy it in game though.
Fighting game. Okay. All right.
I really
it-
like
it-
this ship.
I was gonna say, any particular reason why you don't have it yet, or you're gonna choose to buy it in game?
I've shifted. I mean, ever since we've gotten the ability to buy ships in game, I've shifted to one of, you know, using that mechanic for things that I don't necessarily think I need to, you know.
All right, Jade. I just want to
long-term.
say thank you for the host, OM1 and Dr. Drone. Thank you for the host. Go ahead.
Yes. So, like, if it's something I want to test out, then I typically will try to buy it in game. And yeah, I think, for a lot of us that have been here before we had that ability to buy ships in game, it's just the experience of, going to a ship dealer and buying it.
Back in my day.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
I've been here since day one, so I remember people being like, we'll never be able to buy ships in game. It's a scam. They'll never let us do it. And then there are like 97 ships you can buy in game right now for like almost 300 million credits. Like,
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, we have a hosting train going on, so I can't go through each one of them. But I appreciate all the hosts. Appreciate it. Thank you. So, Rain, what about you? Why you have an interest in this yet, but you're not going to get it yet?
I'm also poor and unemployed at the moment. So, if I could buy it to have it, I would. But like Jade, I'm kind of at the moment at the point where I do want to earn some ships in game, and I kind of want to spend my money on other areas of supporting the development. And who knows, like in some situations, buying a ship in game is actually like cheaper for you. For example, it's like $60 to buy a 300, right? An Origin 300, but it's like, I don't know, like a little over 1 million credits to get it in game. You can do that in a day, right? So like, there's a part of me that wants to see how much it's going to cost in game, but being super, super interested in medical gameplay, if I end up getting the money, I might buy one to support the project.
You're telling me know me is 1995, so there's a deal for you, evidently. I haven't heard about it. But the RSI Apollo is tier 1 and tier 2. That doesn't. This is for GOMAB. That doesn't appeal to you?
Oh no, I love it. It's great. I will definitely be buying one at the next opportunity. They're not always on sale.
They're not always on sale.
They're not always on sale, and hopefully the next time they go on sale will be IAE, and hopefully the price doesn't go up too terribly. But I had access to a Cutty Red. My hope with the new reworking of the medical gameplay, I'm kind of hoping that the loaner for the Endeavor gets switched from the Cutty Red to an Apollo once it gets closer to coming out. Who knows? That will be more in line, with the functionality, so to speak. But a brother can dream, right?
I think for me too, I see from an external perspective when we had the Prospector and mining gameplay, and then we got the Mole, and eventually we'll have like the big mining vessel and probably ships in between. As mining gameplay progressed and enhanced to the point where it's at now, we see the same thing with medical gameplay continuing to progress and enhance. I actually think we're going to see the Apollo next year. I really do.
Oh, wow.
I hope we do. I hope we do. I want to see the Apollo next year.
There are a number of unannounced ships on the roadmap progress tracker. I don't want to speculate.
The Apollo is announced, though.
Yeah, Apollo is announced. It's true. But yeah, I would love to see it pop up on a roadmap in the future.
Same.
By the way, on the screen right now, we see a drone. This is probably this is one of the devices they use to pick up and carry wounded people. So they slip the drone around a person, and then they activate it and then levitate the person so they can push them around to different places. This is the RSI one because you see the RSI logo.
Thanks for the follow.
I'll thank you for the follow. What do people think of this? Or do anyone remember it?
No. This is the first I've seen it.
I remember them talking about this. There are a bunch of ships with drones are going to be a thing. We know the Carrack, for example, has a dedicated drone pilot bay for drones. I don't know how they're going to do drones. I'm kind of looking forward to it, but
yeah, it's basically a medbed.
Yeah, it's basically a medbed. Yeah, I think this is actually necessary too because like they said in the video, showing up to like a mass casualty and having to do like casevac for a lot of people, it would probably be much more efficient to have, especially in 0G, to have the ships deploying drones to grab people that have been triaged to be people that should be brought on board the ship for medical gameplay. Though I do actually have one big issue with the Apollo.
Is that
I've got 6 patients on board and 2 crew members, and the only people who can eject from the ship in the event of a catastrophic, spontaneous, unplanned disassembly are the crew. So what happens to the 6 patients is just my, like, what's going on there?
Same thing that would have happened if I didn't show up the first place.
Hey,
Dead,
thanks for
yeah.
the subscription.
Thanks for the subscription.
That's what you're saying, Gomab, like dead anyways. It doesn't matter.
Right. Sorry.
It's like, well,
Yeah, but
we got 6 people
point,
back there,
Yeah, that is an interesting point. Like, what happened to the passengers or the patients per se if something happened, So
Well, and also
that could be
like,
you.
yeah, and also like the 2 crew. Okay, so is that like a pilot and a nurse, quote unquote? Like, what is the actual, like, is the ship going to be dead stationary while the 2 crew are singing to 6 people? Like, trust me, having a patient load of 6 people sucks. I'm talking from experience here. My patient load for a 12-hour workday at a hospital, at a tier 1 military hospital, was 4. And my nurse, because it was a nurse corpsman team, my nurse had 4. We had 8 patients between the 2 of us. One of us had 4, the other one had 4. And just for like your nursing notes and passing meds and stuff, obviously it's a game, who cares, right? But taking care of 6 people by yourself is probably going to be a little bit much. So I'm just kind of concerned about the overall layout and efficiency.
Oh wow, TV Liquid, thank you for the raid of 178 people. Thank you. So people coming in from the TV Liquid, we're talking about medical gameplay, emergency. I look up medical gameplay. That's the title of the show. And right now we're talking about the RSI Apollo Red. But we're going to probably put gears and talk to the Endeavor now. And thank you for the follow. So the Endeavor, there's no video for the Endeavor, so we're just going to hop into it. How many people have in Endeavor?
I did.
Close your eyes and let me explain it to you and see your mind imagine the awesomeness of an Endeavor. And yes, I own one. Thanks to the Soul Citizens.
You want to tell me that story? Thank you for the follow.
No, I had a buddy who had an Endeavor, and I said, "Hey, man, you should get on today. And if we give away your ship, you should give it to me." And he's like, "Okay." And he already owned an Endeavor, and so he jumped on and won the ship and gave it to me. But I paid him for it.
Sus.
Hey, it's not like I was. It's not like I had any part of
were you or were you not a member of Soul Citizens at the time? Yes, I know. You're under oath now.
Yes, I was.
Rigged.
I had no parts of the contest, of the picking of the winner. I still don't have access to any of that stuff. I just show up as a box on the screen every now and then. That's it.
All right. So back to the Endeavor. The Endeavor is a tier 1, and it's the Hope class in the hospital. That's what it's called. The Hope class is the hospital. Jade and Rain, you said you had one?
Yes.
No.
I do.
You do.
Do you?
Okay.
You don't, Rain?
No,
Okay.
this one's poor.
No, I mean it's there's no shame in not.
Yeah, there's no shame. Out of all the ships they featured today, I have an Endeavor, but it's not the Hope class. But I do have an Endeavor. So
I don't have any of the modules for the Endeavor, including the hospital, which I believe is what makes it the Hope class.
Mm-hmm.
right.
But in fact, I will not with real money buy any of the modules because I want to earn them in game. That'll give me a reason, to work towards them.
Yeah, I have a couple of modules for the Endeavor, but like I said, not a bunch of the medical ones. But they don't have LTI. They have like 4-year insurance, but whatever.
Yeah, and just looking at this cutaway, it's pretty impressive. I mean, with that module, you basically have a flying hospital, and I could see a lot of even mid-sized orgs wanting to have one in this to take care of their people, especially if you're an exploration org. I think it's going to probably be very important to have this ability. If you spend most of your org's life living out beyond facilities, you're going to want to have something like this.
Well, the thing about the Endeavor is that it can only have two modules on at one time, unless you have more than one Endeavor, obviously. So you have to pick and choose. It depends on the configuration. It's 2x2 or 4x1 or what have you. So it depends on the configuration.
Yeah, the bigger modules, then it's 2, and I think the smaller ones it's 4.
Oh, okay.
So is the medical, do we know if the medical module is a bigger or a smaller, or if they have 2 different ones?
I want to say it's 2 different.
Yeah, that's a very good question, Gomab.
Well, it looks, because that picture,
I believe it's like the hangar and the
So the medical module for the Endeavor actually is what brings forth the hangar piece, or is it like the medical module and the hangar?
So then the Hope class would be that medical module plus the hangar. Am I correct?
I believe so.
Okay.
But would that be one of the, like, would the medical take up like the 2-slot module and the hangar take up another 2-slot module, or is that one of the 4 of each? So now you have 1 and 1, and you can do like a
2x2 and 2x2. So that would make 4. And yeah, the hangar is separate.
Interesting.
I mean, I think this is what makes the medical module and the hangar module really is what makes the Endeavor one of the only real
ships.
It could be a portable space station, so to speak.
Yeah.
Where it's like, you can go out into the deep dark beyond, park your Endeavor, and that be the base of your operations.
I also said the medical take up both slots, so everything on the Hope class is medical. So I don't know how people are going to go on and off that ship. Plus, all this is missing is like data. Just like, I think I want to say 2015. So it could have changed by now, or whenever they get to it.
I mean, change. Yeah, if they do it, like if they say, hey, if you put medical in there, then you can't have a hangar, then I'm going to melt it.
And don't forget that the research lab also. That's also part of the medical thing too.
Wasn't there an image that showed a Cutlass Red with the Hope class? With that
was with the hangar.
Oh, it was with the hangar. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yeah. No problem. Did ever 3x2? No, I believe it's 4. Fit 4 total. So it's either 2x2, or 4x1, depending on how you want to configure it. But like I said, that was way back in 2015, 2016, so it might have changed by now. But yes, I don't have the medical. I do have a hangar, and I do have the super collider on mine. Well, I have the module, so those are that's my configuration.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing the Endeavor. Obviously, it's going to be a while, but I'm looking forward.
One of the last ships.
Yeah, all these modules.
I did find an image.
Okay.
How do I send it? If you,
I didn't hear what you said. Sorry, what you said?
I found an image.
Oh, you found it? Yeah, send it to Griff.
Send it to Griff. Gotcha.
Put it in images in Discord.
Okay. Okay.
No, just send it to Griff. Send it directly to Griffin.
Okay.
About the.
Oh, sorry, go ahead. I was going to say it would be interesting to see if MISC decides to get into medical, perhaps to support this with, perhaps a small medical ship, like a small ambulance to compete with the Cutlass Red.
I was going to say, thank you for the subscription, Raymar, but he wants Whammy, so give him Whammy.
Hey, thanks for the subscription.
There you go, Raymond. Thank you.
Oh
Yeah.
my.
So yeah. Any final thoughts about the endeavor before we move on? Or
Other than the fact that I don't think we'll see it anytime in the near future.
agreed.
Yeah,
It's never too
Yeah.
never too soon to say Gib endeavor.
that's true. That is true. Gib.
Yeah. Yeah. It's my prediction that we won't see the endeavor until after the Star Citizen launch.
And just remember, everything can change.
True.
Absolutely. It's like Disneyland always
Everything.
says. The only thing constant in game development is change.
Sure. All right. So next up, we have a video about hospitals. So let's see that.
In 3.15, we are delivering hospitals for the players of Star Citizen. For me, the healing loop is something that's gonna have a big impact on the way we play, especially in co-op. We ended up creating these drop-off points where you can carry your injured friend. It sort of looks like an elevator with a gurney in the middle. So if you have a big crew and everybody has had a bad day, then you can keep feeding them to the machine. One of the interesting challenge about building hospitals is obviously that we have to build them for a purpose that isn't there yet. And so what we did on the design side, we were very involved with the actor feature team in what is the healing loop going to be like and what are the requirements that we have to factor in our location. So we decided that we need some pharmacies where you can purchase meds. We need also instrument shop where you can set your respawn position. We need also like a completely new way of approaching rooms reservation. We know we get assigned a room in the habitation when we spawn, but now we do it the other way around, where you go into a location and you reserve a room from the lobby, and we didn't have that flow before. So we had to develop all of that to support all the mechanics that are implied with the healing. For 3.15, we introduced 4 hospitals: Horizon, Base Clinic, Grimex, and New Babbage. As you enter New Babbage Hospital, you'll see right away what I think is one of the really cool features of this hospital is that there's this glass ceiling above you that allows you to really take in the vista. And if you look behind you, you'll see the Aspire Grande Tower where the abs are. You're gonna find your reception on your right hand side, and you're gonna find all your shop and services needs on your left hand side. And really from there, all you have to do is keep going straight to the other half where the elevators are. And then it takes you to the medical floors.
Specifically worked on the upper floors of the hospital. That's where the player will be able to check in at the nurse's desk, spawn in at the medical room.
In my opinion, this hospital shines. Horizon is really big, super high ceiling, really open, and super clean too. You have like the reception right in front of you and the service is a bit behind. And then the elevators, they take you higher up.
As you go out of the elevator, then the player will pass through and see this absolutely gorgeous wind sculpture there, and seeing those big whale passing through the clouds in front of you as you're in those medical bed feels special. It feels different.
And then we have the space clinics. They still offer all the same services that you would find in a larger hospital. It's just that everything is more compact.
We're creating modules and different pieces of the space clinic, so that way every time you experience it, it'll be just a little bit different and you'll still get the same feeling.
We always try to place them near the elevators that takes you to the hangar, so that whether you come in after you're being injured or whether you're walking out and you're in a hurry to go back in space, it's easy and convenient. So you walk in there, it's again very clean, but much less so than Horizon. Obviously, it has more like this kind of low-tech vibe to it. These ones, I expect them to be fairly popular because they're just so convenient. Grimx, if it had a smell, it would smell like like a sport bag or something like that.
Low tech, it's not as clean as New Bab or Horizon.
Me personally, it's the best. It's much smaller. It's more like on the clinic size, so there's not a big elevator to go through. As we all know, elevators are the biggest killers in game development, so it's a good thing that we skipped one there. It has this really nice view to the asteroid field outside. And the cool thing is that you can also land your ship right next to a side entrance to the clinic. So if you're in a hurry and you don't want to go and park in a hangar or into the traversal, you can park right next to it, get out, walk in, and get treated. But the thing is, like, it's open space, right? So your ship is exposed while you do that, and you could very well see a pirate fly in and shoot at your ship as you're getting fixed yourself, and really this kind of emergent like interaction is really what makes a game shine, I think. The hospitals are part of a game changer.
When people leave the hospital and they wake up and they explore around, I think they're really going to see like the love and care we put into each crevice and corner.
I hope that the hospitals are going to be a way to wrap up the full healing loop. Honestly, if the players find them convenient, me as a designer, I'm happy my job is done.
Is it going again?
I guess that was the end of the video? No, I was just muted for some reason.
It's the end of the video.
Okay, that was the end of the video. My bad. So I just want to say, what's that smell? It smells like a sports bag. Where's that coming from? Anyway. So is it just me, or is it like, does anyone want to visit a hospital other than Orison? Like, Orison seemed like the best one to me.
I mean, I set my home to New Babbage, and the hospital out there is really, really nice.
Yeah, same. I like the New Babbage Hospital. Orison's hospital is very pretty, but then, you know, you have to get out of Orison's atmosphere. So unless you plan on staying around Orison a lot, or even just around Crusader in general, yeah, you might want to try a different one.
So real quick, do you want to say good night, Soul Citizens?
Good night, Soul Citizens.
Bye-bye. Good night.
Adorable.
So those are some examples of Tier 1 hospital. Gomab, do you have are you sitting your home point at New Babbage 2 or Orison?
No, I set my original spawn at Orison, and I have a specific reason for that. But then I end up setting my subsequent spawn for Grim Hex. Couple things that I noticed in the PTU about this. One, the planet, like Port Olisar in particular, shares an inventory of ships and stuff with Orison, right? So you only got to get out of Atmo once, get the portal, and you have access to all your ships that are stored in Orison if you have create that as your primary spawn point. So that's really good. Two, that's the only place you can buy XL1, TS2, or any of the faster quantum drives. So unless you plan on spawning, getting out of Atmo or wherever you're starting at, flying all the way to Orison, buying your quantum drives, claiming all your ships there to get them installed, because you can't install them anywhere else. You got to install them where you buy them, and then flying off. That's why they're about Orison. But then I go to Grim Hex because it's just a little bit easier to get out of and navigate and fly away from. It's the only one that's essentially in space that doesn't require you to have to get out of Atmo.
Okay. So, what in regard to hospital, what is different in 315? I haven't gone PTU. I'm waiting for it to hit live. So, what's different in regard to medical gameplay and hospitals is different in 315? Anyone want to take that one?
Yeah. Also, quick note: you can buy the XL1 at Platinum Bay on Port Trustler, by the way.
So okay, so they moved them out of Babbage, but just put them in Port Tressler.
That's in 314 right now. You can buy XL1s at Port Trustler, and I think.
Oh
it's
no,
still
yeah. I'm talking about in 315 PTU. I think they've consolidated all those to Orison to Cousin Crows. But I don't know if they're saying that people are saying you can buy them at Port Tressler. I'll check that out. But
Yes,
from my
you do.
understanding,
I bought one at Port Trustler in 315 Gomab.
okay,
awesome.
Well, that's good.
So we got to medical gameplay in the hospital. What's different in 315?
Well, so there's some really cool things that people don't really seem to know about, and one of those is places with hospitals have like an emergency services door with like a green cross on it, so you can land in the hangar and get somebody on that elevator, and then they just wake up in the hospital. So you don't even have to all you have to do is land in the hangar bay and get them to that. And one of the cool things is if you have a gurney and you're dragging somebody, you can actually look over and click on the gurney, and you'll actually pick the person up and put them on the gurney, and then you can take them to the emergency elevator and get them situated. So it's it's really cool because there is an actual full scale immersion. There is a full scale medical gameplay loop here. Yeah,
absolutely.
I just want to say, GomabATL. Thank you for the description.
It's GomabATL.
Does anyone else want to continue off that, or your experiences in PTU stuff with regard to medical?
Well, last night, a bunch of us went out to do one of the new bunker missions, and I was surprised at how fun being a medic is. So I would say that, yes, we do have we always hear a lot of question about when are we going to get gameplay loops. Well, we do now have a full medical gameplay loop, even if it's just the first tier of it. And I'm very happy with what I've seen so far.
So am I, exceedingly so. Matter of fact, in the video right there, you see the emergency drop-off in the video. And you can, I don't know, it feels so, and with the changes to inventory, people showing up with rolls makes so much more sense now, because my backpack is like my medical bag would have been in the military. It's full of medical gear, right? So I'm not carrying a whole crap ton of ammo. I mean, I will in my core and my leg armor. I'll be carrying maybe some smoke grenades and flares and magazines for a primary weapon and my sidearm, but I don't intend to be carrying two primary weapons either. Because again, I don't understand why people want to carry two primaries, because you've got magazines for both primaries and for the secondary that's splitting up I don't know how to explain it. I just don't like it.
One good reason. If you have, something that, if you have an SMG or an LMG, and specifically, if you're going out alone, and you also want to have something that's anti-air, like a railgun or perhaps an Animus missile launcher. I mean, that's the only reason I will do it. But everybody's different.
True. But sorry.
Are you finding physical and inventory impacting the medical gameplay per se?
Greatly, because if you come out when I'm out, my pack has a spare med gun and even a multi-tool with the multi-tool attachments, just because I like to have that there for all situations, because who knows if we're ever going to need to use the cutter attachment to rescue somebody. And I carry 10 of each of the med pens, and then refills for the med gun as well and stuff like that, because you kind of have to triage your resources.
Thanks for the follow.
So sometimes it's easier to just take a med pen out and smack somebody with it than it is to like quote waste the med gun resources and stuff. And
what happened? What happened when you use a med gun?
Well, it's more of like, the med gun has its refills and stuff, which I think are a little slightly bit more expensive than like a regular meta pen, which is like 100 credits. I don't know how expensive the refills are, but for me, it's been great. I think it's a wonderful change to have the inventory the way it is and to force people into roles. And again, I've been with this game since November 2012. We always knew this was like the idea, like this was going to be a thing. And I'm sorry about that. So yeah, anyway, that's me.
Yeah, and more to the point of what Rain said about the difference between using a med pen versus the med gun. Those refills for the med gun, I believe, take up a little bit more backpack space as well.
They do, yeah.
Yeah, so if you can get away with using a med pen, now we actually have to look at how much space does something take up. Do I want to waste that on something, when I don't necessarily have to?
It's actually triage, right? And again, this is coming from the real world medical perspective. Like, people don't understand with triage, it's like, I need to use the least amount of resources, most amount of people. And especially, like, I'm not a combat veteran, but being trained in a combat environment, it's about being as efficient with your resources as possible to get people back up in the fight. And that means sometimes you also just kind of have to let people go, which is horrible. You never want to do that, but it's a thing, and that might be a thing here. Like, if you've got somebody downed that needs a tier 1 facility and they're bleeding out, but you've got like 2 other people that are downed and you can get them back up and get them back into a fight, the person who needs the tier 1 is probably going to get left there, or at least stabilized until they can get Casavac, right? So it's like, there's so much to this that people are really just not prepared for it.
Yeah, and that's what's amazing about it to me, is that this is bringing in one gameplay loop. It's bringing in so many other things that are going to make the game, for lack of a better word, more immersive. Immersive. So yeah. So I'm really happy about it. I'm absolutely happy about the fact that yes, you do have to manage resources. Yes, triage is going to be a thing.
So while I take this drink, we're going to move on to tools. On the screen right now, you see something. One of the tools from Kill Life that they talk about the med pen versus the med gun. The kinds of tool, the Kill Life, first aid, med kits, and multi tool. I think we're going to have different pictures of each one. There you go. And I believe that is the first aid tool. Have you? Anyone here been used any of these in the PTU so far?
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us about it? What would you call it?
Oh, the med gun's amazing because you can use the med gun on yourself, and you can OD people. So like, hey, the med gun is a bounty hunter tool now because I just sneak up behind you and OD you with the med gun, and then like, guess what? You're coming with me.
not just a bounty hunting tool; it's a griefing tool too. Because
unfortunately, yes.
Yeah, people are dosing people up, but we'll get to that in a moment. But yeah. So what about Gomab? Do you have any experience with these tools?
No. There was a guy in a hospital gown chasing me around, but I was able to give him the slip. He was chasing me around with a med gun. I knew he was up to no good, man. So I hit him with the Barry Sanders juke move and left him in the dust. But I did see lots of people on the ground. And that's something that CIG is going to have to make. They have to do something about that. Right, you can't just let people run around because now armistice zones mean there are no armistice zones. If I can incapacitate you coming out of your hab or standing there trying to spawn a ship,
mm-hmm.
Yeah, or an elevator. I mean, yeah, it's mayhem right now. I mean,
yeah, I highly recommend anybody right now, before they actually fix this, make sure, like Ramar said, keep a thing of Resurgera with you at all times.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, keep that and spawn and save yourself some trouble. And I know this is a very controversial thing, but bed log in one of your ships with a bed, so when you come back, you don't come back and have to fight your way out of a station.
Yeah, and I'd like to mention one of the most impressive things of 3.15 for me personally is the ability to bed log again on the surface of a planet or a moon. I haven't been able to do that, like consistently since 3.8, and it's just amazing that we're getting this at the same time that being able to live out of your ship is going to be more necessary.
I'm trying to figure out the pronunciation and spelling. So Resurgera, that's the one that you're recommending?
Yes, Resurgera. It's the one that will help you recover from this cult of people who want to overdose everyone.
I didn't know. Do you think they'll fix that? But before it goes live, or do you think this is the end game?
I mean, they've mentioned they're aware of the problem and that they're looking to fix it. I know it's not intended gameplay, because they've said that they would like to have security react to that. Eventually, there will be no armistice zones, but the security in armistice zones will be magnitudes better than what we have now.
Yeah, if they, somebody, shoots me up with something, and I am prompted with a should I press charges, and I click yes, security should spring into action and absolutely waste the griefer.
Exactly. There was somebody on Reddit that showed a video of them actually knocking out one of the security at New Babbage. Just to like get their armor, just to loot their body. So, right now that should tell you the state of armistice zone security, or a long way from, where they can remove the armistice zones.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Unforeseen circumstance. Foreseen. What do you call it? What's the word?
It's emergent gameplay.
Emergent gameplay and unforeseen edge cases, I think, would be the game development term. Am I right?
Yes, it would be an edge case. Yeah, which we did. Edge cases are, we don't plan for those. So it's like, oh no.
So they clearly, I know they have gamers on staff. Mm-hmm. But they have game developers more on staff. They need to go hire some of those, like, really the sad boy gamers onto CIG and be like, so what would you do in this situation? And so that they can probably.
To be fair, someone on the low end probably warned that this was going to happen, and someone up around and said, "Nah, it'll be fine. It won't be that bad."
Yeah, well, they need to have that guy on there so that when he says, "Oh yeah, that's what I'm going to do," they be like, "Okay, we got a plan for this." Otherwise, this is going to be, because if he's going to do it or she's going to do it, then there'll be 1,000 other people trying to do it. Because I'm not shocked. I'm not surprised one bit. Like, that was one of the first things. Imagine that was probably one of the first things people tested out when they got in. I wonder if I can overdose somebody. Hey, look. So, yeah.
I believe on Inside Star Citizen, they actually said something about being able to do this too. So
yeah, I think
maybe they wanted to see the chaos.
Mm-hmm.
I think they wanted.
This is a learning experience. Go ahead, Ryan.
Social experience, a social experiment, like
sometimes
Lord of the Flies in a bubble.
Right. Sometimes we are the experiment. We are the test subjects.
Actually, yeah, that's true. Like, sometimes I shouldn't be saying this, but sometimes, like, one of the projects I worked on, we would throw things in and just be like, I wonder what they're gonna do with it. And oh, well, that's what they did with it. Okay, good to know. So let's go fix that. So yeah, sometimes you are the test subject. We just don't tell you. So giving away trade secrets there. I'm about to get blacklisted.
So moving on to tools, we're going to talk about pharmaceuticals, specifically pens. And you're going to have graphics come up, and you're going to have each one of you read 2 of those. So go back. Why don't you read Adrena pen and Cortico for me? You might have to. There you go.
All right. So Adrenapin, it's Demexatrine. Demexatrine, yeah. It relieves muscle fatigue, concussions, and related symptoms. The Cure Life Adrenapin can rapidly dispense doses of synthetic adrenaline. Demexatrine during emergency situations to help relieve muscle fatigue and symptoms related to being concussed. So if you bump your head, use only as recommended.
Miracle drug.
Next one. I'm waiting on. All right. Corticopin. It's a sterogen. It relieves muscle weakness, respiratory damage. The Cure Life Corticopin can rapidly dispense doses of corticosteroid, sterogen, during emergency situations to help relieve symptoms associated with muscle weakness and respiratory damage. Use only as recommended. Side effects may include explosive diarrhea, death, or less.
Yeah, they should have had that. You're so right. Jade, how about the next two, please?
Sure. Detox Pin Resurgera relieves high blood drug level overdoses. The Cure Life Detox Pin can rapidly dispense doses of the detoxicant Resurgera during emergency situations to help relieve symptoms associated with high blood drug levels and overdoses. Use only as recommended.
Side effects include. I wonder, can you OD on that?
On Resurgera? No. No, because it's an it's specifically to bring your blood drug level down.
Yes.
It's like Narcan in real life, basically.
Our good old friend MedPin, Hemazole, relieves bleeding, overall vitals. The Cure Life MedPin can rapidly dispense doses of the coagulant Hemazole during emergency situations to help relieve bleeding and improve a patient's overall vitals. Use only as recommended.
And Rain, next two, please.
The Opio Pen, otherwise known as Roxafen by Cure Life, relieves impaired mobility and paralysis. The Cure Life Opio Pen can rapidly dispense doses of the pain reliever Roxafen during emergency situations to help relieve symptoms associated with impaired mobility and partial paralysis. Use only as recommended, and be sure to contact your doctor for more information. The Oxygen relieves oxygen deprivation. This easy-to-carry, disposable, first aid system is designed to refuel pressure suit oxygen reserves in emergency situations. Compatible with most standard suits, the Cure Life OxyPin is an ideal solution for preventing hypoxia and providing immediate access to life-saving oxygen. See your authorized medical dealer for more.
That was excellent.
The effects of these drugs last more than 4 hours. Please contact the police.
I was not expecting that. I had to stop myself from laughing. That was very good. Thank you.
Explosive diarrhea and explosive decompression and spontaneous unplanned disassembly are all possible side effects of Cure Life medical products.
There's something about four. If it lasts more than 4 hours, you got to contact the physician.
Yeah, please see your doctor. Yes, please see your primary care physician.
So the thing about the tools and the pharmaceuticals, they had different colors. So like green is for defibrillators, and red is for trauma, and blue is for burns, and yellow is biohazard. That's pretty much like real life, right? That's how not specific colors, but that's how that stuff in real life.
Kind of, yeah. We do have like things colorized and things like that in a hospital environment. But the actual thing about the pens is like color. You can remember what they do, color coded based on the part of the body that they fix, right? So the orange pen is for the corticosteroid pen is muscle weakness and respiratory damage, which means what? That's a torso damage. So torso orange, right? And the Adrenapin is purple head, and your red pen is just general health. Your blue pens are for detox and oxygen, and your green pen is for limbs because impaired mobility and paralysis. And that's like a way that like I'll be teaching people when I offer, like, because we're gonna actually have to teach people how to like be medics in the game now, which is fantastic. I love it. So this is another thing too, yeah.
Yeah, it's gotta be a pain, like trying to tell to get the right color for whatever ails you at the right moment before
Thanks for the follow.
Yeah, as when you're trying to get it for yourself, as your life is ticking down.
Yeah.
Like you go, oh, what color? All the crayons. I gotta pick the right one.
Well, the thing is like color pattern recognition for color and pattern recognition for what to use. Let me ask you this: would it be easier to remember that I need to administer doses of a corticosteroid for the injury, or this is a chest injury orange pen? 2 steps.
Well, I mean,
right?
Either or, I'm gonna have to learn something.
I mean, sure, but yeah, I people that aren't really into medical, like, if, say, for example, we're in a situation and I ask you to give me, like, you know, Sterigen, for example, and you're gonna like, what pen is that? It's the orange one, you know. So like,
yeah,
those
just
types,
give me the orange one and I'll give it to you.
Just give me the orange pen. Like, I got it. Don't worry. You know. But
what I actually think is probably going to happen to most folks, is, and what I hope will be the case, is that, you know, you're hurting, hit you with the red pen, right? The med pen slows down everything, you know, helps start the process of stabilizing you, and gives you a few more seconds to figure out the actual dosage of the actual pen that you need to start recovering, right? So you want to stabilize, then recover enough to get you stable enough to move, to get you to that, you know, ambulance or other medical ship. Or
and if somebody is, like you said, Gomab, if somebody is like significantly injured, I do want to hit them just with that red pen and drag them onto the ship and get them to a hospital. Like, just, I'm not worried about, I'm worried about stabilizing my patient and getting them to a hospital, right? So like, if you ever been on a rig going out to an incident, right? We want to stabilize, get them on the ambulance and get them to the hospital. And then if we're at a low tier hospital, then, you know, we have to bring the care flight helo in and get them casevac'd out to a higher tier hospital. It's the same sort of thing. Like, it makes my little medical heart flutter. To just be like, oh my God, they've done it. They've done it so well. They've done it so. I'm so passionate about it, and I'm so happy about it. I know it's exceedingly annoying to be so positive about it, but the medical gameplay is just, it's fantastic. I'm so happy with what CIG has done with it.
A call in Trick Chat makes a very, very good point. Like, the colorblind will be difficult to differentiate between the colors. But maybe they could change the shape or put lettering on it or something like that to make.
Or like have a specific icon for each one.
Yeah, that'll work too. Hopefully. So yeah.
The other thing that we don't have to worry about though is I don't have to take your armor off before hitting you with a med pen in real life. Got the scissors, right, to get to cut your clothing off so I can get to you. I don't have to do that in Star Citizen yet. So right now, because we can turn bodies over, right, when someone's in a downed state. Imagine I have to turn them over. They've been concussed. Okay, let's get them stabilized. Let's get their helmet off, get their armor off, and then hit them with a med pen. Imagine that, like real combat triage, and let's get him on the gurney, get him on the ship, and get him to the hospital. There's so much. This is tier 1. We've got, again, the med kits and stuff that are coming, and you know, with the tools and everything, there's so much more to come with this, like radiation and radiation poisoning, and what do we do there, and what about when we get poisonous flora and fauna and like antitoxins and things like that. There's so much more to come, and I'm so excited for it.
Speaking of the downstairs, I think that brings us up to our next topic. We have a video about healing, so let's roll that.
There's supposed to be consequence to death. Do I want to just bleed out and die? There's supposed to be a fear of death itself. It's not just a case of how I'm going to be healing myself, it's a case of who's going to come and save me if I go down.
315 is going to bring the next major step in realizing the vision that Chris Roberts had, and that is you are this lone explorer that is venturing forth into the unknown. The new mechanics and systems that we're introducing in 315 around healing and Death of a Spaceman introduces the risk part of that exploration. pretty much 99% of the times where you would have died in Star Citizen before, now you go into a down state. And a down state is a unconscious, incapacitated state that allows other players to come and rescue you. But when you do come back, you may come back with a very severe injury. So the injuries that you can come back with, you can range all the way from a traumatic head injury, a chest, severe chest injury or chest wound. You've got broken arms, and probably the most severe is broken legs.
Each injury per body part comes with different symptoms, and as you accrue more severe injuries, your symptoms increase, the severity of the symptoms increase. With the head, it's mostly visual effects, so as you take injuries, your eyes sort of get very detached from your retinas and whatnot, and what you can see starts to become impeded.
And we actually call this blood vision, and it's actually not what you'd expect in terms of blood speckling on. It's actually the delamination or the separation of your cornea on your eye.
Also, force reactions, that comes into play. So the more severe your head injury, the more you react to those. So to start off with, it's the same as usual, standard functionality. But when you have the most severe injury, a strong breeze is going to knock you over. And then also we have the chest. So moving on to that, you have reduced stamina, so you can't run as fast, or for as long, rather.
The main progression of the chest is that you start to suffer in terms of your overall general health, and also at the top end as well, you're in kind of like a weakened state. You trigger a hurt locomotion, so you can't really, you're not as flexible and mobile as you previously were. And where the arms starts to go is that you start to have increased weapon sway. You can't carry as heavy objects. And on the most severe arm injuries, you actually have broken arms.
That prevents you from climbing ladders. It prevents you from carrying heavy objects. So you might bend over, pick up a 200 box and then immediately drop it.
And when we have broken arms, essentially we allow the player to do what we call one-shot actions. So for example, pull the trigger on their gun.
So you can fire your weapon, but after that you're going to be forced to drop into a low carry. And then moving on to legs. Obviously, if you've got a broken leg, that doesn't really help you with traversal. And when you get to that severe state, we put you into prone lock, so you have to crawl everywhere.
It's going to be a severe state, and it's not going to be something that you're going to want to happen at the bottom of a cave. So if you do receive an injury out and about, what can you do? How can you help yourself? Obviously, you can have medical pens. So medical pens are what you're using right now. They heal your health, and they still remain to heal your health. They won't heal it as much as previously, where it was just a one-shot, heal all, reset back to full health, you're pristine. They just bring back your health back to where it can be, depending on what injury you've received. The other thing that you can do, depending on the injury, is you can take one of 5 drugs that we're introducing into the patch. And they treat different symptoms. So some might treat muscle fatigue, some might treat pain relief, some might treat other things like headaches and so on and so forth.
Their function is to mask symptoms, and those symptoms are masked for a specific duration. And the duration is based on the dosage that you apply, and also the method of applying them. So we have the med pens, we've got the med gun, the multi-tool healing attachment, and then we've also got the med beds. The efficacy of all of those increase. Sort of, we go up in efficacy from pen to sort of gadget to med bed. When you give yourself any sort of drug, so that's healing or masking symptoms, you're increasing your blood drug level. It's also alcohol, so that ups your drug level as well. And as your blood drug level increases, you'll start to reach thresholds where you start to see visual effects, so blurry vision, muffled audio, that kind of thing. And then as you progress through that further, you'll start to enter drunk locomotion mode. And that's, as you might imagine, staggering around, looking rather drunk. If you reach 100% on your BDL bar, that results in you entering an overdose state. Now, this is similar to an incapacitated state in that you can't move, you're in ragdoll, you're seeing the screen fade in and out. But the main difference is that your blood sugar level does decay. So as long as you don't suffer damage enough to send you into an incapacitated state and then eventually death, you will come out of the overdose state automatically.
So this is what leads to the next stage of relief. How do I cure the symptoms or injuries that I've received? You can only cure those injuries based on going to a medical facility or a medical bed. And depending on the severity of that injury will dictate which facility you need to go to.
Now, it's not a one bed fixes all. Not all beds are made equal. We have the Cutlass, which is a tier 3 facility, and that can remove minor injuries, so that the least worst of the injuries. You've then got the Carrick and 890, they're tier 2. They can relieve minor and moderate injuries. We'll also have rest stops. They'll have clinics within them, and they'll also be able to, they're tier 2 facilities, so they'll be able to heal moderate and minor injuries. And then the creme de la creme, which is tier 1, you'll find those in hospitals, and those can remove any injuries. So we've talked downstate, we've talked injuries, and we've talked treatment. But what happens when the worst occurs and you die? So previously, or currently, you respawn in a hab. That's out the window now. Now you respawn in a medbed. There's numerous locations that have medbeds, so that's hospitals, that's clinics, Carrick, 890. Those are the ships you can respawn in, at least the Cutlass you can't. Your default respawn location is actually set as your home location.
So when you log in now on 3.15, you'll be asked to choose your home residence. This home residence will become your home regeneration point. And this is what the main area that you have will be dictated to that hospital. If a landing zone has a hospital associated with it, then that hospital will become your main regeneration point. If you choose a landing zone that doesn't have a hospital associated with it right now for 3.15, but will do in the future, it will associate the nearest hospital to that landing zone. And you will be given that information before you log in, and you have to confirm that. If you die and your regeneration point is not available, so for example, you set your regeneration point inside your Carrick and you're flying your Carrick and your Carrick blows up, you will then regenerate at your home resident. So that is the original hospital location that you spawned at. When you are incapacitated, before you fully die and regenerate, you will have a significant period of time to wait it out for people to be able to come and rescue you. Now, clearly, if you've taken a severe amount of damage, that time is going to be less. And if you've taken a moderate amount of damage, that time is going to be greater. But we're talking, in the half an hour, 2-hour range where, there should be plenty of time for somebody to come and rescue you. Clearly, if somebody's there still damaging you while you're in the down state, they can essentially coup de grace you, they can execute you, and you will be forced to regenerate. But we are giving the player enough opportunity to try and wait it out. If players don't want to wait it out, and that is their choice, then they can choose to regenerate immediately. And the one thing that we do want to call out is if you do regenerate, then you will leave behind all of your items and gear that's on you right now, but we can talk about that next week. So we still have a significant amount of actor status related gameplay that is going to come later, but this is just to let people know that, we're going to put this out, understand, measure, get feedback, and then shape it into something that is what everybody wants, that what we want it to be, that is this true vision of Star Citizen. So this is just the next step, but it is a big one.
Okay, so that was the Inside Star Citizen from a few weeks ago, in fact. To talk about downstate and the update to Death of Spaceman. It did even put out a lawmaker's guide for the update. Anybody had a chance to review those, the lawmaker's guide, and get the Death of Spaceman update in general?
I haven't had a chance to review the Loremaker's Guide yet, unfortunately.
Put the link in Twitch chat.
Okay. But, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, basically, they went over a lot of terminology. Go ahead, Jade.
Oh, I was saying, yeah, I had a look at it. You know, it's good that they've done this guide because of some of the changes and some of the additions that they've added to the lore regarding, you know, the Ibrahim sphere, things like that.
Well, I forgot to mention, they're taking questions. So if you want to ask a question for our panel about medical gameplay, click down below in Twitch chat, and you can submit a question. Go back. How about you? Do you have any thoughts about the update?
You know, no, like I said, this came back a couple weeks ago, so we definitely talked a lot about it. And you know, now that we got this the tier 0 in, it's starting to get a little bit more real. You know, right now, in the past, as a few weeks ago, you could be walking out of your MSR, trip over an imaginary, you know, rock on your loading dock.
It was right there, I swear.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, trip over it and then just die. Or be walking through the space station on the way to the ASOP and just die.
Don't forget the elevator monster. Don't forget the elevator monster.
The elevator monster, you just die, right?
Or waking up in your habit, Aspire Grand at New Babbage, and rolling out of bed the wrong way, facing through the wall and falling to your death.
And just die, right? So, you know, there was a whole lot of just dying going on. Now we got some stuff, you know, we got some intermediate steps. Like now you're just walking around and just your leg breaks and you're like, ow! But at least you got something you can do to fix it. So
yeah,
it's a step in the right direction.
So,
wow, this is a lot.
Oh, so I've been asked to ask Jay to elaborate on the Ibrahim sphere.
Oh, okay. So, so the Ibrahim sphere is how it's basically the lore reason why we're able to come back from what would otherwise today be a certain death. And that's basically what it is. Do we have a link to that death? Can I post a link to the death of a spaceman?
The original one or the Lawmakers Guide? I put the Lawmakers Guide.
The most recent one, the Lawmakers one I just did.
Oh,
gotcha.
Yeah, there you go.
Yes.
Oh, that's a different
one. Oh, Rain can't make it, but Jay just did.
Yeah.
If you want, Rain, you can give the link to Griffin.
It's the same link that you posted earlier, fastcart.
Okay.
Yeah.
So go ahead, Jay.
So yes, if you go to that link, it's a great link. You know, don't skim through it because there's a lot of information. It's pretty information dense, and it explains the reasoning behind the system that we have now, and you know how it was influenced by demon souls, and yeah.
So I have a question. I'm going to start with Rain on this one. So when you're into a down state, what are you going to do? Are you going to wait it out, or are you going to immediately regenerate, depending on the situation is? But you could describe your situation as you give the answer. So when you're into the down state, what do you intend to do?
Well, I think like there is no concrete answer there because it is extremely situational, right? You know, we've seen this in 315 PT Wave 1. Friends that are playing alone and solo and don't want to risk putting out a beacon and getting griefed, so they just regen, right? And of course that leaves all your gear behind, right? Or if you're on Discord with friends, they can come and get you, and you know, I've had that happen, so I don't have to put a beacon up. That's the joys of having an org, is, you know, org mates can respond to you and find you. And you know, it depends, you know, did I go out cave mining and slip and fall, right? Well, I don't want to regen because I got a backpack full of ore, right? I don't want to lose that. And or, you know, did I go looting? Like me and a friend of mine went to Korea, and the Squadron 42 assault rifle, the PAAR, is in game to loot, but you can't buy it. I don't want to regenerate because I don't want to lose that rifle. Like, looting is a thing now that matters because there are weapons and gear they didn't tell anybody about that spawn in a loot table, but you can't buy them anywhere. And I'm pretty sure this is intentional. Like, there's a Xi'an rocket launcher, for example. So, like, if I've gone out to loot or gone out to mine or whatever, I've got really important stuff. Not to mention, as an EVE player since, like, 2006, when people can't quote unquote die, it becomes a war of attrition of resources, right? So if your current kit costs you like 20, 30,000 credits, do you want to have to spend another 20, 30,000 credits to go and rebuy everything? So I have seen a lot of people choosing to wait it out and medical beacons popping up and things like that, because yeah, you can just regen, as was stated in the ISC, that's your choice, but you are making a calculated choice to let go, and people don't seem to realize this has also opened up additional gameplay, because if you choose to regen, what if you have an org that has like a search and recovery team that will go out and get your stuff for you, right, and bring it back to you? Like, people, I want to impress that with medical gameplay and inventory gameplay being what it is in 3.15, the options that we have, it is such a massive fundamental change to the way that we play the game. I've noticed people being slower and more methodical and more tactical, not shooting first and asking questions later, all kinds of stuff, right? So, you know, of course, yes, assuming they can get into your server, but yeah, I mean, I think I don't think you can have a concrete answer to it. It's so incredibly situational that you'll just have to make the decision right then and there in the field and decide if you want to wait it out or not. I mean, obviously there are some people that might be like, nah, I'm never going to wait it out. I don't care. I've got more money. I know what to do with. I'll just go buy everything again. It's like, okay, well, you know, that's up to you.
Gomab and Jay, do you have anything to add to that?
Oh, I mean, I think I think the consequences of death being elevated means you do shoot first and ask questions later. Because
I've not seen it on PTU is all I'm saying. Neither have I. I've actually walked into situations where people drew guns on each other, on to local and be like, hey, friendly, put it down. And they're like, yeah, okay, no worries. And
yeah, no, I could dig that. I could see that, and I could see the other way. Like if you do have an advantage and you see a whole bunch of people down there that may or may not be friendly, and you have a drop on them, you might as well just take them out and not even.
True, yeah.
You know,
the question then GomAB is, if you take them out and they've got friends on the server, they're part of an org that's on a server now, you know, they may come back to try to get you. So there's going to be a lot more consideration into whether you get into engagements.
Well, true, and like if you're under a comm array, take them out. Murder, right? You know, bounty target, right? So
absolutely.
Yeah. Definitely. I mean, it's definitely going to change the decision tree, right? For everyone who's playing and how they engage and how they don't. You know, I think
it truly is a different game now. I feel about it like I felt about Star Citizen when it went from 2.6 to 3.0. It's that fundamental of a.
It is. Yes.
We have a reason to go out and explore. We have okay. I'll tell you just an experience I had. I went to one of those emergency shelters, right? Now. There are, I don't know if these were placed or if it was a player that died, but I found subscriber items, you know, that were just there, right? So like places that people do package deliveries and stuff, if, you know, you might want to go by there to see if somebody died inadvertently, or and there's just so many more reasons now to play the game and look at, you know, what's going on around you and be aware of your surroundings.
One of the coolest things that I had was at Korea, and we've got like 4 or 5 of us, and the door starts cycling, and these 2 guys, we open the airlock to like 5 people pointing assault rifles at them, and they're just kind of like stop, and you know you jump on local and you're like, state your intentions, and they're like, just here to hack. The security status, don't shoot us. And we're like, okay, cool, we're leaving. And then you keep somebody like watching them, and then they go and do their thing and you leave. And it's like, what would you do? You know, you walk into an airlock and then there's like 5 or 6 people with rifles pointed at you. You gonna try and draw that gun? I mean, I don't know, that's up to you, boo. Do you, right?
Yeah, exactly. Do you, boo?
Yeah, that well, you know, so that means they didn't get the drop. You guys had the drop, and so you guys would have been well within your rights just as soon as that thing opened up.
Spray them, yeah.
Spray them, and then keep on with your day, because they could have been stupid and had a couple grenade launchers and shot off a couple rounds and took a couple of you with them. right? That was a risk that you took. That was an unnecessary risk in that moment. It was great that you didn't. There was no blood that needed to be shed, but that could have went sideways.
Oh, it could have. Right? Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly.
So
when you're describing that moment, in my head, I'm imagining a tumbleweed going in between the two parties. But exactly, I wish I could wrestle, but I can't. But another question. So, name one thing that will change now about how you play because of the down state and death. One thing that will change how you play with the down state and death and Gomab you play.
I'm going to have to blow the dust off my my alt, man. You know, because my alt's going to get some screen time. You know, just to practice the transition between my main and my alt. You know, I definitely am going to be leveraging multiple characters in order to experience more risky stuff. Like, I'm not going to, when the game releases, I'm not going to risk my main characters. You know, if they got 5 lives, right? You know, so to speak, I'm not going to risk my main characters' regenerations. By going out and doing risky things, you know, like going after bad guys or spelunking in caves or whatnot. I'm not doing that. He's going to do more legit.
We haven't covered that tonight, I don't believe. So, you want to explain the regeneration thing or the live thing that you just mentioned?
Yeah. So essentially, you know, every time you die and then get regenerated and come back, there's supposed to be a degradation to your DNA. Which, you know, and they haven't said how many times you're going to have, how many lives, so to speak, you're going to have. But they said there is going to be a finite number, right? You know, whether it be 3, 5, 10, who knows? That you're not going to just have an infinite number of respawns. And once you do hit that final one, right? You know, it'll be kind of a pseudo permadeath, but your estate will then be passed on to your next of kin, which will be another character that you'll have to create. So, but I imagine that will incur a heavy financial penalty as far as estate taxes or whatnot. So I don't want to go through that.
Not just financial, but reputation too.
And reputation as well. You got to start over because this new next to kin is unknown.
I don't know about starting over, but you'll definitely take a hit.
Yeah, take a hit. You know, like, oh, I knew your cousin. He was cool, but you still got to prove yourself. So, so you got to, you know, it's something I don't want to have to go through. Right. I want to, you know, and all, you know, and you know, my general how I want to play the game is I want to be seen in the verse as an upstanding, you know, high functioning business person, right? But on the back end, I got my, you know, my alts that are going around doing some more seedy stuff. So that's how I'm playing.
Jade, so name one thing that will change how you will play differently because of the downstate and death that's coming.
Wow, only one. Okay, I'll say one that I was thinking of that also they're talking about in the chat. Subscriber items and concierge items, they do not leave my home, period. They don't even go on my ship. They don't leave. They're just there. I'd like to deny somebody the use of those items now. And I would take way more seriously you know, what I put on my ship. If I'm going to live off my ship, then, you know, I'm going to definitely be paying attention. What do I take out? What situations do I want to get involved with? Like Gomab said, you know, what don't I? Before we could do anything, it didn't matter. Death didn't matter. And now it does. So, you know, we're going to have to, well, at least I know that me personally, I'm going to have to reevaluate a lot of the things that I may have done in the past.
Ryuki said, Dawn, one less person that can stab for a shopping concierge item from. So
that's right.
Good on you.
Damn right.
Rain, how about you? Name one thing that you're saying because of the downstate death is coming in 315.
Everything. That counts as one thing, right?
all right, I give you that one.
That's what I'm saying. Like, there's so much fastcart, more than one thing.
And and reading like the Lore Maker's Guide to the Galaxy here, they talk about like traumatic response echoes and what is that? What does that mean? An imprint viability score, and wiped meaning like dead. Dead and gone, and like cycles, like how many regions have you been on, and gap, like between.
I'll be counting those like I'll be marking that out in a spreadsheet or something.
Yeah, and I mean they even talk about like better equipment will help improve your imprint viability score, and so you can regenerate more often and things like that. And I think like insurance and choosing a provider, and you're gonna have to pay to have like access to better equipment so that you can. I think that's what they're going to do with it, is like, okay, well, you can go to Graham Hex and pay some dude and you're going to get like 2 or 3 regions, but if you go to like a hospital you might get like 10. Like it'll I think they'll do it like that, like it'll be a part of your sort of quote cost of living is something that will be part of this. And for me, the downstate and losing gear, all this stuff has drastically altered how I play the game, especially if I'm solo. Because some people are like, well, I never want to play solo again. I'm like, yeah, that's cool, but sometimes I do want to play solo. And it's altered, like, if I go exploring somewhere on Microtech, what's the chances that I either freeze to death or fall down a mountain and then freeze to death? It's like, hey,
I'll try to get to your elevator and then freeze to death. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah,
and that's all before the Boreal Stalker is introduced.
Exactly, right? It's like, I know people are probably sick of it, but I'm just really, 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 really excited for all of this. I've been waiting for this.
I can't tell. It's been,
yeah. Sorry.
You need to draw yourself out. I can't tell at all. But I'm with Jade on this one. Like I will be leaving a lot of my stuff. Diamond Pig, thank you for the follow. I'll be leaving a lot of my stuff inside my hangar or my personal my what do you call it? Not my personal inventory, but in my room, so I don't.
Yeah, your home local inventory.
Your home
subscriber items are in as loot, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Rain. Yeah, I was wondering where those. I just assumed it was a player that lost them, but that's awesome.
Well, one time I went looting and I came home with like at least one of every single type of combat knife in the game. I want that one. I want that one. I want that one. I want that one. It was great, and I brought it all home.
How many knives do you need?
All of them, plus one fastcart, plus one.
And from chat, the crossbow is apparently in, as well as the. Like Rain said, the Geon missile launcher, done from Squadron 42. So definitely go out there, people, and
loot. Go explore.
Get your looting on. Loot. Be about it.
Man, I ain't leaving my spaceship or hat for anything.
Now, I do have a gameplay loot, or at least a gameplay challenge for everyone. Like, especially if you get like drugged and dragged, right? When you spawn from your with the hospital robe on. See how long and how much you can do in the game, how much you can do without actually putting any armor on, right? Because if you're on, depending on where you're at, you can spawn ships in hangars and fly to another hangar and move around without having to put on the spacesuit and stuff. So yeah, fly around in your 600s and your 400s and whatnot, and just your hospital gown and just have fun.
Good night, baby. Naked citizen, huh, Gomab?
Naked citizen, ass out. Flapping in the wind.
We covered regeneration, but we haven't covered cybernetics yet. So, like, you're talking about how you get injured, or you get injured, or you have to respawn. You might come back with a limb missing. So, anyone want to describe what happened then?
Well, the way they explained it in the Lore Maker's Guide is that it's not so much that you come back body as a near perfect replica of you, but think of it like the Matrix, right? The body can't live without the mind. So the way they explain it is this traumatic event echo kind of a thing. And so like imagine you die and your legs get crushed. Well, there's a chance that when you regen, that traumatic event echo, traumatic response echo, TRE is what they call it, will be present and your legs won't work. You have them, they're new legs, but they don't work because your brain is like, my legs got crushed. They don't work. Now we need cybernetics. So like, it's really interesting that this is the direction they're going with, because you could have cybernetics because you had something blown off and didn't die, or because you regened with a traumatic response echo and your stuff doesn't work. Your arm doesn't work because it got blown off and you died. Really interesting and intriguing thing here, because they make like, how do you make cybernetics a thing if I'm functionally, near immortal, quote unquote, like, well, it's because of this stuff. So I think it's really interesting that we're going to get cybernetics, and it'll be for multiple reasons.
More machine than man now. I just had to. But yeah, there's a lot of debate about this stuff. Like, are you going to be, the cybernetics going to make you stronger or make you able to move faster than having normal limbs? How will that?
I hope not.
I hope not.
I hope not, because that would almost be rewarding being careless with your character, right? Which is totally against what they're trying to go for.
Yeah, but it's 29, 51, so that's gotta be a thing.
Usually that's my line, fastcart, but I'm gonna say it's also a game.
Yeah,
there. Now I got to do it.
What are you trying to say, Gomab? You agree with me?
I'm sorry. Yeah, we 900 years in the future, man. If we look, if I can't put on those no boing boing legs and pew, ride out on y'all, man.
Here's the problem with that, Gomab.
I don't know what we've been doing with our past 1,000 years.
Why then would anybody in the Star Citizen universe choose not to be Arthur?
No, I get it. I understand from a game balancing perspective. But so all right. Imagine, if you will.
Just from a lore perspective, why would anybody want to just be just a regular non-augmented human being? Because they take energy. They take energy. They take power. They take resources. Like I have to charge my arm up every night like a freaking iPhone, and if I don't, then I can't pick up my coffee in the morning. You know what I'm saying? So there's other ways. You could have a drawback. You can have balance in other ways, other than just saying make it worse. All right, I'm with you on that. I do think that it should be a very special. You should have to seek somebody out. You need to go maybe talk.
You need a Ripper Doc.
Pacheco, Tessa Pacheco. Say, where'd you get that? Where'd you get that hand? It shouldn't.
Or if you're a high-ranking member in the military, you should get something that is the bee's knees, that is awesome and great, and you're stronger than the average person, faster and all that stuff, and charges through your own bio systems that you got to plug in it, whatever, right? Yeah. But if you're a criminal, right? You gotta dust off a 900-year-old USB-C plug to charge up your hand every night. So there should be cost drawbacks. There should be energy drawbacks. You're susceptible to EMPs or other types of attacks, right? But just saying it shouldn't be as good as natural. There's, even now and today, there are people that have prosthetic legs that are faster than any human with regular feet. You know what I'm saying? So,
I don't know about everyone else, but I think the subtitle for this episode should be "Boing Boing."
Boing Boing legs, baby.
Boing,
Let's
boing,
do
it.
I actually agree with Gomab here. And as a game dev myself, right? Like, we sometimes design. One of the projects I'm working on right now, and we get into conversations about designing balance based around how difficult something is to achieve, for example, right? Like, yes, this is quote unquote overpowered, but how long did it take you to get it? So is the act of achieving a thing enough to balance out you getting it, for example, and the power that it gives you? And they talked about you're going to have the busted stuff that's like cheap as chips to, my wife's an Aussie, cheap as chips, right? And the stuff that's really expensive. And what does that mean? And not to mention having cybernetics more than likely will decrease your imprint viability score, so that like subsequent regions aren't gonna be, you might have that drawback there. So I think price, availability, it affecting your regeneration capability, like there's so many different, as we call exploring the design space, right? There's so many different dials that as designers we can look at to go, how long did it take to get, how expensive was it, what does it actually do versus this other thing in the game, does it affect multiple gameplay systems and functions? There's a lot here.
Okay.
I'm going to make two.
You both won me over.
Awesome. Glad. High five.
High five.
I'm going to make a couple of points. I made this point before, but I'm just going to state it here for this show. Is that I think one of the drawbacks from having a cybernetic or artificial limb is that what happens when you get hit by EMPs.
Yeah, I mean that's one big thing, and then and there's another drawback of having a metal hand and being lonely in space.
Fastcart bad.
It'll be like someone else is there, right? Oh man! All right, let's move on.
This is a family show, people. Just to remind you.
Oh God damn it, go man! That's twice. That's twice in one night. Twice. I love you, man. I love you. That is twice, go man. Twice.
All right, so let's move on from that and go to real questions. We have one question from Optimist Inc. Incorporated. From your impression of 315, do you think we'll see major changes to medical gameplay? We probably talked about that. If so, what do you think needs to be changed or added? So, so say like from 315, or if you play from PTU, what needs to be changed? They need to change that overdose thing, that's for sure.
Yes.
But what else?
I don't see anything needing to be changed outside of that. I want to see additions. I want to see more types of med pins. I want to see us dealing with, like toxins and probably diseases and things like that. And, going from med pins to med kits to the multi-tool to the gun to like a true progression. I want to see more animations for better, to be able to carry people better, because right now we just sort of drag. But in the military we're taught to hike someone on our back, right? Do the fireman carry thing. Though, I mean, you normally now you just grab somebody's vest or plate carrier and drag them, which is just easier than trying to throw them on your back, for example. But I want to see different carry options. I want to see, maybe even more medical tools, for example. I just want to see more of this. I think this is a massive foundational upheaval to the game, and I think it is just it's fantastic outside of the situation we're dealing with, and I really just want to see where they go next.
Cool.
Yes.
Okay. Jade and Gomab. Well, Jade, do you have anything to add?
Yes, absolutely. So I am very impressed with what we've got. I didn't think we were going to have all those different med pins. And where I'd like to see this go, they've already mentioned that it will go this way with the new actor status coming in. Radiation. We're in space. Space, you're surrounded by different types of radiation, ionizing radiation from different sources. So along with infections and things like that, having infections, having radiation be added to things that you're going to have to cure or treat, it will be amazing, and I look forward to it.
And just to add to that, having fire burns or or frostbite, that's something they could do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Gomab, your thoughts?
Like Jade said, I'm significantly impressed about where they are right now. The only thing that I think we may have touched on earlier, or may not have, that I would like to see is raising the skill ceiling of healing and implement dosing. So scanning for the injuries and then selecting multiple drugs and the amount that you're going to use. And if you
on the med gun.
Yeah, but but not the more effective you are at that, the better you're cured and all that stuff. So have that dosing actually mean something significant, right? So if I get your dosing right, you may not even have to go to a hospital, right? Or you may not have to go somewhere. If I get you and not just, oh, you have this one injury, so I'm going to give you this one drug. I need to be able to see the combination of injuries that you have and see the severity of them and understand their interactions and maybe add another, X factor in there and create a kind of a cocktail, shoot you with it and see, okay, you got 100%, or actually you have 110%. This guy can run through walls right now, or you got 75%. They still need to go to still need to go to the hospital, right?
Running through walls. I just see Gomab playing. And I go, oh yeah, just like
oh yeah.
I feel amazing.
Oh yeah. Oh no.
Right. My answer to the question of what I would like to see added, Gomab, you convinced me. I definitely want to see Boing Boing Bazooka legs. No, the other thing is, I think that, like, say you perform an operation on someone, I think if someone mess up, like do a critical fail, the patient knows to turn red.
I want to leave my medical gun inside somebody. Why not? Oops.
Why am I beeping?
The cool thing is, like, the med gun actually has an advanced mode, so you can click on the back of the med gun, you can click advanced mode and actually tell it the exact percentages of what drug you want it to administer, which is really, really cool. So like there's a basic mode which is set to an automatic, it detects automatically and tries to do that, but you can you bring up F to bring up your mouse and you can click advanced, and then there's sliders for all of the drugs, including like the med pen and oxypen and everything. And you can mess with those sliders on the med gun and then hit somebody with the dosage you want them to have instead of what the med gun wants them to have. That's in the game right now. But I kind of want a medical tricorder because please.
Yes, please.
So,
please, CIG, please give us tricorders, medical.
Well, the Apollo was already a freaking Voyager, so I mean, why not?
And the Endeavor more so.
Yeah.
So next question we have, a last question from Old Lefty. Does anyone know if death impacts reputation in any way? We kind of covered that, but we can answer that again. So the basic answer is yes, but not as well. We don't know how much yet because it's not really in game yet. But they say that it will. Anyone else want to comment on that? But that's basically the answer, right?
I mean, we've heard some conflict. Some people think when you die, it is a complete reputation reset. Why, for example, if you had become a contractor with, say, Crusader Security and you die, why is your next of kin automatically a contractor as well, right? They don't know who this person is. It just doesn't. To me, I would actually rather it be a complete rep wipe.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Because it doesn't make sense. It does not make sense. Like, I obviously.
My cousin Tony, he's been hanging out with me.
Yeah, but your cousin Tony messed up, man. So like, he messed up.
I'll say one thing to that, and I'll beat the same drum I beat all the time. Game needs to be challenging, not punishing, right? So I believe the start from zero, but you have money and ships. Especially if it depends on how far and how much of a grind it is to actually get any reputations. Like if level 10 is best friend and I die and my next of kin inherits level 6, I know him, he's kind of cool, then that's okay. Right. I don't think you should go back to level 0. Who the hell are you? You know what I'm saying? Because that's if it took you 3-4 months to get up to that level, that's enough. Then you start having people making real life. Do I want to do that again? Like, do they make that choice? Do I want to do that again, or they're like, oh darn, I gotta earn that back. Let me get back to it, right? So it's creating that balance. I understand that the purist of us wants to be like, nah, dude, if you die, you die.
Get good, scrub. Get good. I'm just that guy wasn't bad. I mean, the actions, Chris Roberts always says he wants this to be a game where actions have consequences. So, yeah, it should be challenging but not punishing. But at the same time, there should be some actions that you do that you will be punished because the consequences are severe. And I think, and maybe
you lose 20% of your money. You lose 20% of your money. All your ships are impounded, and all your ships are impounded. You lose 20% of your money, and folks that used to be your best friend look at you like, I kind of know you, but I don't really. That's a big.
But they don't know you because you're not. You're dead. This is a new person.
This is a different
They don't
person.
know you. Yeah.
They don't know your cousin Tony. They just know that your cousin Tony.
I bring Tony around everywhere I go. He don't talk much, but they met him. They met him. Like they know him.
But he's also not GomabATL though. See?
Yeah, they met him. They don't know him like they knew me. But he's not like an unknown entity.
I'm gonna die on this hill. I'm gonna die on this hill. Get good, scrub.
Get
That's all I
good.
gotta say.
I'm right there with Rain. Rain will die on that hill. Get good or get wrecked.
Let me add a little twist to it too. I think there may be some ways you can bypass losing all your reputation. Like say, if you own a banding merchantman or a banding defender, maybe you'll keep a lot more of your reputation from the Banu if your character dies. Because those carry a lot of.
Yeah, go ahead, Rain.
Well, my dad was a cop, right? And when he died, I don't get to just be a cop, right? Because he was. They don't know who I am. I didn't go through academy.
But you do get a big leg up if you go and you're like, oh man, this is so and so's kid. Hey man, he was cool. Let's give this person a shot.
Yeah, that's true. But then it's also you better live up to your dad's.
But you start above 0 though.
I mean, sure, yeah, 1 or 2 is fine, but not 6 out of 10.
Right, exactly.
I mean, they have to balance it, right? To where it makes sense.
Okay. All right. So let's wrap it up. So we're going to we just had a bar citizen from yesterday and a week ago covering the hype and depth of bar citizen. The one from 2 weeks ago, well, a week ago was hype talking before CitizenCon, and the one from yesterday was Death talking about everything that happened during CitizenCon. And there goes a picture of all the beautiful faces who attended. So yeah, we had a good time.
Excuse me?
Wow.
Oh, there I am.
Jeez.
Hey, yeah. There's a whole bunch of people. And there I am too. I see you. So yeah, we had fun. I'm glad. Glad I was able to participate, and I want to thank the Yacht Club BC, Test Squadron, and obviously Soul Citizen for sponsoring the event. So it was fun. Don't know when we're going to do it again. It'll be a while. Not just for saying for me, doing 2 back-to-back kind of wiped me out. I love everyone. I love the community, but 2 back-to-back will wipe me out. So it might be a while before we do another one. But it was fun. And we had a couple of giveaways. CIG gave away 2 100 eyes and 2 MSRs. And so Citizen, we gave away 2 400 eyes to a couple of winners who guessed what the ship was, or concept, or not the concept, just the ship that's going to be released at CitizenCon. So congratulations to the winners. And with that, we're going to wrap up. Oh, for next week, next Sunday on the 24th, we talk about the Pioneer. Let me see who's going to be on for that one. Probably, well, it should be a good show. But it is. That's what's going to play. So we're going to have Dark Knight, Dig 32, and Griffin Gaming RPG. So check us out for that one. Also on Thursday, we have Soul Talk. So we'll be probably, maybe talking about our experience at the Bar Citizen and going over. I don't know if they're going to have an Inside Star Citizen. I think that's on a hiatus for a while, so we'll find. And we do have quite a few machineries that have been popping up here and there, so we'll probably cover more of those. So check us out on Thursday. That's at 10 p.m. Eastern, and then Sunday, same time here, 8 p.m. Eastern on Sunday. So hope to see everyone there.
That was a good show.
Great.
So Gomab, where can people find you?
You can find me here or in the verse. Look for GomabATL. Look for me. I'll be here, almost every Thursday and every Sunday, lurking in the chat or hanging out in the Discord. Be sure, Thursdays. Come join the conversations with us on Thursdays with Soul Talk, man. We love to have y'all out there. But meanwhile, find me around. Holla at your boy.
Yeah, Gomab would be the one with the boing boing legs and looking at
boing
his
boing.
And looking at his arm, really, really special. Like,
hey, look, they call me Po Lil Tink Tink.
Jade, where can people find you?
All right, I'm gonna go into rapid fire mode here. Shout out to Kalrati. So you can find me here every Thursday at Soul Talk. I invite all of you who are so active in the chat. Don't be afraid. Come by our Discord, Soul Citizens. You can see it right there. Come by, get with us, talk with us. And then obviously, whenever I'm a host on Soul Citizens, you can also find me in the verse, XL-JadeStarwatchr with an R, no ER at the end, and my alter ego, my in-lore DJ name, DJ Sky, every now and then on the Friday night mix show on the People's Radio.
Oh, by the way, I had fun on the People's Radio. Thanks for inviting me.
Oh, hey, thanks for coming. You brought down the house. Like, you were definitely the star of that show.
Oh, thank you. RayneCloud, where can people find you?
You can find me most Fridays on Black Sky Legion podcast. Moving forward, and obviously I'm going to be hanging out here on Thursday, Soul Talk, and hopefully I get to come back for the Sunday Absolute Blast. You can find me on twitch.tv/LadyRayneCloud and on Twitter on the Bird app at KaraRayneCloud. That's Charlie India Alpha Romeo Alpha RayneCloud. You can also find me in the verse as RayneCloud, and here in the next few days you can find me on the People's Radio, hopefully as DJ Rain. We'll, see how that goes. I'm looking forward to that as well. And I have a raid suggestion if you want to hear it.
I think we already have a raid, so
cool. Awesome.
But thank
you. Gotcha.
People can find me at twitter.com/fastcart. You can find me here on Sundays, a lot of Sundays, and almost every Thursday. Soul Citizen, and in the future, TPR, the People's Radio. I'll be doing some more shows. Not every week, but we'll let you know.
Yeah, we're gonna rotate every Friday. There'll be different DJ from the community. All these people are from the Star Citizen community.
Just want to let people know you can, if you want to support us, you can purchase our merchandise. You can check the link down below. If you want to check us out on other social media, check the link down below. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. I think that's it.
And also Patreon.
It's time for raid. Who we gonna raid?
I just want to say thanks to everyone for watching, and peace, love, and soul.
And we look up your rating Levain girl. Levain G fan.
So.
Yeah.
Good night. Enjoy be with you all.
Oh my God, he's going
for
crazy.
Coming by, Ray.
Levain fan, so thank you. All right. Show him some love.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Oi, some SI.